Good morning, Alan here with another 5 minutes of recovery. Today we're going to talk a little bit about step 12. As always, my disclaimer, I'm not a professional speaker. I don't represent any specific 12-step fellowship. I'm just here sharing my experience, strength, and hope in the hopes that maybe someone will see one of my videos and seek help if they're struggling. So, over the last bunch of weeks, we've been talking about all the different steps, and now we get to step 12. So, always recommend, like, you could start to do step 12 before you're actually on step 12, because a lot of what step 12 is about is service, right? And if you're new and you got a license and there's other people that don't have a license, you can give them rides to meetings, and that's service. And if you're following suggestions, like you have a home group, you should be like participating in that home group. So you don't necessarily have to be on the specific step working it with your sponsor to actually do it, right? So that's been my experience. And that's been really my experience with like the way that all the steps work, right? So it's always about practice, practice, practice. But that being said, you also need someone to actually guide you through the book. I truly believe that that is what is going to change your life. So if you have worked through the steps up to this point and you're on step 12, what happens is, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message and practice these principles in all our affairs. So what's my experience with that, and what that means to me is that as a result of working all the rest of the steps, somewhere along the line I had a spiritual experience. And a spiritual experience is different for everybody, right? Spiritual awakening, spiritual experience. So what that was for me is that the way that I used to think and the way that I used to act completely transformed. And that's only a miracle that could happen, I believe, through my God, right? Because if you were like me, like the thief, the cheat, like just straight junkie, the things that I did, then and you're able to be honest and upstanding, and I keep my word, and like I don't steal, like all of those things that I did my whole life, most of my life, you know what I mean? Like I don't do any of those things like that. So like I transformed, I'm a different person. And that's a direct result of working the steps in my life and getting a relationship with a God of my understanding, right? And so then the other side of that is, as having had that spiritual awakening, right? Then it's my responsibility to carry the message. So this is what I was taught, and I really believe this. Like I know that everybody has their own place in whatever fellowship they're in, and that there's all different kinds of way to do service, because there is, and all of it counts, and all of it is important. But what I was taught, and what I think is the most important thing for me, is that I went through the book with my sponsor. I went through the steps, and so it's my responsibility to take other people through the book and take them through the steps. And that's really that. And so like that, and that's how that works. And by doing all of that, I'm practicing the principles on a regular basis. I'm constantly looking at myself and doing all the things that I need to do to stay sober on a regular basis. And that's basically sums up how the 12 step works in my life. So like I said, like I really believe it's my responsibility. And then the beautiful thing about that, right, is that not only did like my sponsor took me through the steps, and that I get the opportunity to take other people through the steps, and really all we're doing is just connecting them to a God of their understanding that'll remove the problem, because that's what the book says. God will remove the problem, right? And I'm sorry if I offend anybody with the word God. That's just how I choose to call my higher power as God. And so what happened is, I get the opportunity to take people through that, right? And by doing that, I also get the opportunity to check myself. So it keeps me on point. So when I'm working with somebody and we're going through the book and we're going through the process, and we're interpreting the book together, right? And I'm telling them my experience with it, I'm also like checking myself. Am I doing this? Because I don't want to tell someone else that they should be doing this if I'm not doing this, right? And so the way that works is it's an awesome experience, because every time I take somebody through the steps, I actually get the opportunity to go through the steps again myself, and I get to make sure that I'm on point, and I'm doing the things that I need to do to maintain my recovery on a daily basis. So that basically wraps up step 12, and then just continue to practice. on a regular basis. And so what I think is one of the most important things, well, there's a couple of important things, right? But my gratitude, right? And we talked about gratitude and it being an action word. So if I'm grateful, then I need to be doing stuff to show that I'm grateful, right? So gratitude is important. Service is important. I need to always be doing some kind of service, trying to be helpful, you know what I mean? And just trying to be useful to my God. And and as a result of doing that and just staying on top of myself, and I think one of the most important things that I fell short of before, and it led me to a relapse, is seeking. So I continue to seek. So if I stay grateful and I stay in service and I continue to seek the God of my understanding, I can almost guarantee that I'm not going to pick up a drink or a drug today. But like with everything else, it's about maintenance. We have to do it on a regular basis. We're always moving forward. We're never moving back. We never stay still. So you're always moving forward, and I need to always be seeking. And as a result of that, what happens is that my relationship with the God of my understanding changes and it grows, right? And I know more today, a little bit more today about it than I did yesterday. So I'll never know everything. And that's the beautiful part about all of this. Like one of my friends in the rooms a long time ago, he said that the only thing that you need to do to get and stay sober is change every single thing in your life. And he said the beautiful part about that is you get to do it your whole life. Does that make sense? So it's just about progress, not perfection. I'm not perfect. I don't do any of this stuff perfect. I just try to be useful, and I try to stay in service, and I remember to be grateful. And sometimes I forget and I'm not, and I start bitching and complaining, and then I think about that and I was like, oh, back up, what are you doing? And then, you know, like I got people in my life that tell me, right? And that's important. And so like I think one of the things that I'm trying to convey here is just to try to stay teachable. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that was insightful. I know that's what I'm doing, and that's what's been working in my life. And I've been staying sober a day at a time for a few 24s now. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful week, and God bless. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks.